Most people think wealth is built in a single moment, a lucky investment, a viral business, or a massive inheritance. But the truth is far less dramatic and far more powerful. Wealth is not created in a flash. It is grown quietly, consistently, and patiently. The people who end up rich are rarely the ones who got lucky once. They are the ones who made the same smart financial decisions day after day, year after year, until those decisions became impossible to ignore. That is the hidden power of financial discipline, and when it compounds over time, it changes everything. The quiet engine behind every great fortune. Before understanding how discipline compounds, it helps to understand what compounding actually means. Most people know compounding as a math concept, earning interest on interest. But compounding is not just a number. It is a principle that applies to habits, behavior, and long-term decision-making. Every time a person chooses to save instead of spend, invest instead of ignore, or delay gratification instead of chasing instant pleasure, that decision builds on itself. The first year of financial discipline might feel underwhelming. The savings look small. The returns look modest. The sacrifice feels disproportionate to the reward. But that is exactly when most people give up, right before the compounding effect begins to accelerate.
I drink probably 5 12-ounce Cokes a day, and that's about 700 calories. And I've been doing it more or less all my life. I can't imagine anybody that feels better than I do. I mean, I'm happy, I enjoy life.
Warren Buffett is the most studied example of this principle in action. He made his first investment at age 11. He was a millionaire by his early 30s. But here is the part that rarely gets discussed. Roughly 96% of Warren Buffett's wealth was built after his 60th birthday. Not because he suddenly became smarter, not because he found a secret strategy at 60, but because the decades of disciplined investing finally reached a point where the compounding could no longer be contained. Time is not just a factor in financial discipline. It is the entire engine. The same pattern appears in the life of Ronald Read, a janitor and gas station attendant from Vermont who died in 2014. He left behind an estate worth nearly $8 million. He never earned a high salary. He never received an inheritance. He simply lived below his means, avoided debt, and invested consistently in dividend-paying stocks for decades. Ronald Read did not beat the system. He used patience as his strategy, and patience paid him back with extraordinary results. Financial discipline, when applied early and sustained long enough, does not just grow money. It rewires the relationship a person has with money itself. The discipline becomes the identity, the habit becomes the default, and the compounding silently does the rest. What financial discipline actually looks like in practice, many people misunderstand financial discipline as a form of punishment. They picture someone eating bland food, never going on vacation, and counting every cent like a miser. That is not discipline, that is deprivation. True financial discipline is strategic. It is about making intentional choices that align with long-term goals, not eliminating every form of enjoyment from life. Take the story of Rihanna. By her late 20s, she had earned hundreds of millions from her music career. But it was her financial decisions beyond the stage that truly multiplied her wealth. She turned discipline into business ownership, building Fenty Beauty and Savage X Fenty into billion-dollar brands by reinvesting earnings rather than spending them on short-term luxury. She did not just earn money, she deployed it strategically over and over again. That discipline, applied consistently, made her a billionaire before the age of 40. Financial discipline in practice involves 3 core behaviors that most wealthy people share. The first is spending intentionally. This means knowing where money goes, cutting spending that does not serve long-term goals, and directing resources toward assets instead of liabilities. The second is investing consistently. Not perfectly, not all at once, but regularly, putting money into accounts, funds, or businesses that grow over time regardless of what the market is doing in any given week. The third is protecting the progress already made. This means avoiding lifestyle inflation, steering clear of high-interest debt, and building an emergency fund that prevents one bad month from wiping out years of progress. Jay-Z is another example worth examining.
We had it pretty good in America, and we was just we were floating,
He grew up in poverty in Brooklyn and made his first money through music. but the discipline he showed in managing that money, from building his own record label to buying stakes in companies like Armand de Brignac and DUC, meant that his wealth never stopped growing. He understood that a dollar saved and invested works harder than a dollar spent. Over time, those invested dollars returned more dollars, which were also invested, which returned even more. That is financial discipline compounding in real life, not in a textbook. The science behind this is straightforward. A person who starts investing just $300 a month at age 25, assuming an average annual return of 8%, will have accumulated over $1 million by the time they reach 65. A person who waits until 35 to start the same habit will accumulate less than half of that by the same age. The money invested is almost the same. The difference is 10 years of disciplined action and 10 years of compounding, doing what compounding does. Why most people never let it work for them? Here is the uncomfortable truth that most financial content avoids. Financial discipline is not complicated. The strategy is not a secret. The math is not mysterious. And yet, the vast majority of people will never build lasting wealth. The reason is not intelligence. It is not opportunity. It is the gap between knowing and doing, and the emotional forces that live in that gap. The biggest enemy of compounding is short-term thinking. The human brain is wired to prioritize immediate rewards over future gains. A new phone feels more real than a retirement account. A vacation booked on credit feels better than a portfolio that quietly grows in the background. This is not a moral failure, it is biology, but it is also the single greatest financial obstacle most people face. Social pressure makes it worse. When a person sees friends buying cars, upgrading homes, and living large on social media, the pressure to keep up becomes almost unbearable. Kylie Jenner built her cosmetics empire at a young age.
We are in my purse closet. You might have seen it on my Snapchat.
But what often goes unexamined is that she kept her personal expenses deliberately lean in the early stages. Another reason people fail to let discipline compound is inconsistency. They save for 3 months, then dip into the fund for something unnecessary. They start investing, then panic during a market dip and sell everything. They make a budget, then abandon it after a stressful week. Compounding requires continuity. Even small disruptions, repeated often enough, can permanently alter the trajectory of financial growth. The fix is not willpower, it is systems. Automating savings, setting up automatic investments, and removing as many active decisions from the process as possible means the discipline happens whether the mood is right or not. The most financially disciplined people are not the ones who fight their impulses the hardest. They are the ones who build structures that make discipline the path of least resistance. The math of compounding is neutral. It does not care about motivation. It does not reward enthusiasm. It rewards consistency, patience, and time. A person who understands this and acts on it, even imperfectly, will always outperform someone with higher income who has never learned to let discipline do the work. Financial discipline is not about being perfect with money. It is about being consistent enough, for long enough, that consistency becomes the most powerful financial tool a person will ever own. The wealthy do not have a secret formula. They simply started, stayed the course, and let time do what time does best. Every dollar saved today is not just a dollar. It is a seed. And the greatest fortunes in history were not found. They were grown, one disciplined decision at a time.